morning students. Hope you all are fine. This side Ajay. Today guys, we are starting with our part A, chapter number 4 according to new curriculum, Contemporary South Asia. In this chapter guys, we have to cover these 7 topics: Bhutan, Maldives, India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, Nepal, Sri Lanka. So this is the mind map guys. Now we are proceeding with the chapter. The chapter name itself clear about that what is South Asia, and firstly we will see from the overview of the chapter. Let us shift our gaze from the larger global developments in the post-Cold War era to developments in our own region, South Asia. When India and Pakistan joined the club of nuclear powers, this region suddenly became the focus of global attention. The focus was, of course, on the various kinds of conflict in the region. There are pending border and water sharing disputes between the states of the region. Region means areas. Besides, there are conflicts arising out of insurgency, ethnic strife, and resource sharing. This makes the region very turbulent. At the same time, turbulent means in a very deteriorating condition, problem. At the same time, many people in South Asia recognize the fact that this region can develop and prosper if the states of the region cooperate with each other. In this chapter, we try to understand the nature of conflict and cooperation among different countries of the region, since much of this is rooted in or conditioned by the domestic politics of these countries. We first introduce the region and the domestic politics of some of the big countries in the region. Here in this picture, it's mentioned, you can see that liberty leading the people, painted by Eugen Delagrange in 1830, courtesy of Himal South Asian, January 2007, the South Asia Trust, Nepal. Means that they want their own constitution, they want their own democracy, and then after attaining it, clears that they have finally freedom. Now what is South Asia? I have already highlighting main points for you. This is the unlisted question also. What is South Asia? We are all familiar with the gripping tension during an India-Pakistan cricket match. We have also seen the goodwill and hospitality shown to visiting Indian and Pakistan fans by the host when they come to watch a cricket match. This is symbolic of the larger pattern of South Asian affairs. Ours is a region where rivalry means enemy, and goodwill, hope and despair, mutual suspicion means doubt, and trust coexist. Let us begin by asking an elementary question: what is South Asia? The expression South Asia, it comprises guys 7 main neighboring countries, which I have already discussed with you in the mind map. These are Bangladesh, Bhutan, India, Maldives, Nepal, Pakistan, and Sri Lanka. The mighty Himalayas in the north and the vast Indian Ocean, the Arabian Sea and the Bay of Bengal. This is the structure of guys South Asia. In this module, they have to be clear as how it comprises. West and East respectively provided natural insularity to the region, which is largely responsible for the linguistic means language based, social and cultural distinctiveness means differences of the subcontinent. The boundaries of the region are not as clear in the east and the west as they are in the north and the south. Afghanistan and Myanmar are often included in discussions of the region as a whole. China is an important player, but it is not considered to be a part of the region. Mark it, because one more question it comes like which neighboring country is not a part of South Asia. So according to it, you have to be saying like that China played a very important role but not included in South Asia, it's excluded. In this chapter, we shall use South Asia to mean the 7 countries mentioned above. These define South Asia stands for diversity in every sense, and yes, yet it constitutes one geopolitical space. Here from the let's do it in the corner, you can see identify some features common to all South Asian countries but different from countries in West Asia or Southeast Asia. So now next is the various countries in South Asia do not have the same kind of political system. Despite many problems are there, limitations are there, like Sri Lanka, India have successfully operated a democratic system since their independence from the British. You will study more about the evolution of democracy in India in the textbook that deals with politics in India since independence. In the next chapter, we have already covered 2 chapters from part B, and then it is of course possible to point out many limitations of India's democracy, but we have to remember the fact that India has remained a democracy throughout its existence as an independent country. The same is true of Sri Lanka. Pakistan and Bangladesh have experienced both civilian and military rulers, with Bangladesh remaining a democracy in the post-Cold War period. Pakistan began the post-Cold War period with successive democratic governments under Benazir Bhutto and Nawaz Sharif. Underline it, respectively, but it suffered a military coup in 1999 and has been run by a military regime since then till 2006. Nepal was a constitutional monarchy with the danger of the king taking over executive powers. In 2006, a successful popular uprising led to the restoration of democracy and king to a nominal position. From the experience of Bangladesh and Nepal, we can say that democracy is becoming an accepted norm in the entire region of South Asia. So till this page, guys, you get to know what is South Asia, what are the main major important neighboring countries we have to study under this chapter South Asia, which is a symbol of group of 7 countries. China is excluded from it, but though it played a very important role. And then we have to be discussed about Pakistan in detail and other countries. Now move to page number 77. Here similar changes are taking place in the 2 smallest countries of the region. Bhutan is still a monarchy, but the king has initiated plans for its transition, means changes to multi-party democracy. The Maldives too, because in brief we have to be study in this chapter regarding Bhutan and Maldives, we have to be focused more on India, Pakistan and Bangladesh, Sri Lanka. So the Maldives, the other island nation, mark it, was a sultanate till 1968 when it was transformed into a republic with a presidential form of government. Remember guys, here is a presidential form of government, not prime minister, parliamentary. In June 2005, the Parliament of the Maldives voted unanimously to introduce a multi-party system. The Maldivian Democratic Party (MDP), mark it, dominates the political affairs of the island. Democracy strengthened in the Maldives after the 2005 elections when some opposition parties were legalized. Despite the mixed record of the democratic experience, the people in all these countries share the aspirations for democracy, means they demanded for the democracy government. A recent survey of the attitudes of the people in the 5 big countries of the region showed that there is widespread support for democracy in all the countries. Everybody want to have a democratic type of government because they know that democratic government is a very important and a government which is only based on the welfare, development, growth for its citizens and accountable for them. So ordinary citizens, rich as well as poor and belonging to different religions, view the idea of democracy positively and support the institutions of representative democracy. They even prefer about the